Before this fan fiction starts, this is a warning. This is a Clopfic, which means it's gonna be some stuff in there you don't want to hear and stuff. And I will tell you right now, if you don't like to hear that kind of stuff, you should walk away from the video right now. Walk. I'm giving you a chance. Walk away. Walk. It's Clopfic. This is some serious business. He wrapped his right arm behind Sweetie, pushing her up onto him, and snaked his left hand down in front of her body. Sweetie Belle was not as well versed in pony anatomy as Spike, and didn't know how the reproductive system worked. But again, curiosity won her over, and she was willing to let Spike do whatever she wanted. Ugh. Even so, she didn't expect what happened next. Spike slowly rubbed his hands down her stomach and skimmed over her slit slightly. A sudden wave of new sensation passing through her body, like a lightning bolt. Spike released her from their kiss, and she immediately let out a gasp, her eyes growing wide. She hadn't felt something so immensely exciting in her life. Spike started rubbing his fingers in her groin, causing Sweetie Belle to squeak in surprise. Spike was not new to these feelings, but Sweetie Belle sure was, and it was driving her wild to experience them for the first time. Sweetie Belle started squirming under him, pushing her lower body up into his fingers, trying desperately to urge Spike on. Spike implied, slipping his fingers into her body. Oh, here it goes! Sweetie Belle clenched her pussy against his hands, shuddering with delight. Spike could feel her growing wet, covering his fingers as he moved it back and forth. Oh. Spike pulled his finger out, moving down to face her pussy, and gave it one good lick. God! No! I don't want to read it. Sweetie cried out, shocked at what he had done, but was mobilized by that nauseating surge of pleasure. Spike licked her fluids off his fingers, sitting back up again on his hunches, and letting Sweetie catch her breath. It tasted sweet. Sweetie was sweating lightly and breathing heavily. She had never expected something to feel so good in her entire life. Inquisitive as to what had just happened, Sweetie Belle managed to sit up. It felt like Spike didn't finish something, but she couldn't tell what. Her groin was still itching with desire. Spike! What was that? Sweetie asked, amazed. Spike smiled. You have a lot to learn, Sweetie Belle, he answered with a chuckle. She looked elated. You mean there's more? She didn't entirely know what was going on, but she wanted more. That's when she noticed Spike's rather generously sized erection. She blushed and giggled, and Spike looked embarrassed. Oh, heh, sorry, he said, when suddenly he gave wolfish grin. That's just what happens when I'm around sexy mares like yourself. Sweetie Belle turned red hot. After a moment, a light bulb went off in her head. Wait, that's what this is, isn't it? She exclaimed. This is sex. I overheard my sister talking about it once. I'm right, aren't I? Spike nodded, wondering what Rarity had been saying. Sweetie Belle suddenly looked down at Spike's member lustfully. She decided that if Spike could lick her, she could lick him back. Oh God, no! In a sudden movement, before Spike could think, Sweetie Belle dashed over, ducked her head between his legs, and licked her tongue on his member. She knew it worked when Spike's legs mechanically spread apart and he moaned loudly. So Sweetie Belle, where are you? Another lick shut Spike up. And Sweetie Belle continued, running her tongue along his hard shaft, making it slick and wet. Spike didn't know that she had come up with the idea of sucking his cock by herself, but nonetheless savoring the bliss of her amateur blowjob. Spike couldn't take his member as deep in her mouth, but managed to suck on the head, making Spike gasp at the feeling. Every nerve in his rod was electrified. It felt so much better when somebody else was pleasuring him. Sweetie Belle gagged slightly while trying to take it in deeper. Pulling back and coughing, saliva dripped from Sweetie's mouth of Spike's shaft, making her mouth water. She was panting again from the stain of blowing Spike, and sat for a moment to reclaim the air she had lost. Spike was ready for the final step. Oh, here we go, guys. Sweetie, I need you to lay on your stomach. Sweetie Belle was about to question, but Spike cut her off, smiling. Just trust me. He hadn't stirred her wrong yet. Sweetie Belle rolled onto her stomach, facing away from him. Spike ogled at the sight of her flank and positioned himself behind her, placing a hand on either side of her plot. Spike lifted her backside upward, allowing easy access. This may hurt a little at first, but don't worry, everything's gonna be fine, he explained, placing the head of his rod in her slit. Sweetie Belle nodded and bit her lower lip, not sure what to expect. Spike pushed his head up his cock in slowly, and with one swift motion slammed into her. Sweetie Belle cried out, her hymn broken, but she stayed strong. Spike fully mounted her from behind. God. Spike held still for a moment, quivering at the sensation of Sweetie Belle's warmth, tight, veteran inside squeezing his hard shaft, and gently started pushing back and forth into her body. With each push forward, Spike slid deeper and deeper and pumped faster and faster. I'm trying. Oh man. Sweetie Belle was recovering from what had happened, beginning to waken as a surge of pleasure coursed through into her body, making her nerves spaz. Even more of her nerves in her pussy, each one beginning visually caressing and simulated by Spike's member. It wasn't long before Sweetie Belle pushed her backside upward, pressing back in rhythm with Spike's thrust. As Sweetie Belle began actively adding to the rapturous feelings, Spike started humping her madly, pushing as deep as his cock would allow. Sweetie was feeling something strange down below, an unbearable tingling that seemed to be growing more powerful and more pleasurable with every second. Oh, Sweetie Belle's eyes rolled back into her sockets, her mind losing itself in a new sensation, her tongue lolling out. In an instant, Sweetie Belle reached her first climax. It was incredible beyond imagining. The rush of ecstasy that flowed through her pussy, the wave of heat and titillation that streamed within her body. She moaned in euphoria and squeezed Spike's rod intensively, dreading it with her blast of fluid. Spike could feel her wetness rubbing onto his haunches as he continued to smack into her. He soon felt his own orgasm coming on and pulled out of Sweetie with a loud sucking noise. Swinging Sweetie onto her back, Spike shoved his cock into her drooling mouth, thrusting in and out, moving her head back and forth in motion. In a few seconds, he felt his release. It was the largest, most satisfying climax he had ever felt, and he shot stream after stream of sticky, warm jizz into Sweetie's mouth and down her throat. Spike fell back, the last stream of cum hitting Sweetie Belle in the face. Wow. Sweetie Belle drank everything Spike had shot into her mouth. Panting heavily after swallowing the last gulp, Spike toppled to the ground beside her. She rolled on her side to face him, and the two held a lover's gaze for what seemed like a moment, but was in fact a long time. The sun was getting ready to set, but the two remained there together. Sweetie giggled happily, overjoyed at what happened to her today. Spike too was well satisfied. "So, Spike," Sweetie whispered to him softly, "does this mean I'm your girlfriend?" Spike felt a little blindsided by the proposition. In the end, all the love bottled up in his heart poured out in one sentence. "If you want, Sweetie, I'll do anything for you." Sweetie didn't need to answer with words, but instead kissed him on the lips, giving her heart to him. The two lay beside each other, watching the sunset together. Aw. Problem solved, Spike asked himself, looking at the mirror beside him. She winked at him and smiled, and he felt his heart soar. Problem solved. Oh, that's it. The end. That was something. That was definitely something. I feel so uneasy right now. But anyways, see ya, dudes.